Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. So, as America continues on her collision course with destiny, I want to give 5 reasons why I believe Donald Trump was reelected to be president of the United States. Notwithstanding the fact that Donald Trump probably wanted to be president again for ego reasons, also so he won't have to pay any bills as long as he's in the White House, as well as trying to stay out of jail. So he had his own reasons for wanting to be reelected. After all, the black guy was elected for 2 terms, so he wanted 2 terms. But I believe it's much deeper than that because on the surface, there's no reason why Donald Trump should ever have been elected president of the United States, not even the first time. But there are events in place that are seen and unseen, things that we can see and not see. And I believe that there are some reasons behind the scenes why Donald Trump was allowed to be reelected. And these are just things that I have learned over the years. These are just my personal reasons why I believe that Donald Trump was reelected to be president of the United States. So, hear me out. Reason number one, as America has set herself up as a Christian nation, America will go down as a Christian nation. Now, in the Holy Bible that we study in the book of Revelation, and all of the biblical scholars agree with this, that America, this Western civilization that we call America, is not mentioned in end time events. In the Battle of Armageddon, which is supposed to be the final battle to end this dispensation, this country is not mentioned. Some people say America will already have been judged. America will be a non starter in the end time events, even now, as we call ourselves a superpower. According to biblical scholars, America will not be a part of that battle. Now, what's going to happen? Well, I don't know what's going to happen, but I know that it's being set up now that whatever is going to happen that's going to keep this empire out of the action, we're in the beginning of that stage now. Now, that's my belief. It is not just my belief, but the belief of many that Babylon has fallen, that we are seeing kinds of activities going on in America now that really mirror the activities that were going on in Sodom and Gomorrah before it was destroyed. So, so the phrase Babylon has fallen seems to be appropriate at this moment in time. Now, Donald Trump, with the help of Elon Musk and other surrogates, is dismantling the empire. He is undoing everything that this country has stood for in the hopes that they're going to somehow return it to some other period in time when a certain group of people felt empowered and important. He is actually dismantling this empire and everything that it stands for, alienating allies and friends of the country, alienating his base and his constituents, alienating everybody and everything that gets in his way with whatever agenda he has in his mind, making this country into something that nobody recognizes. It's the beginning of the end of the empire. And Donald Trump is presiding or presidenting over this. As for Black Americans, who knows but that we are here for such a time as this to be witnesses and testimonies to what has happened in this empire. Reason number two, all great empires fall, they all decline. In studying world history and great empires, we know that the great Egyptian Empire, the Roman Empire, the Persian Empire, the Ottoman Empire, the British Empire, the Russian Empire, we know that all of those great empires fell and they collapsed from within. There are numerous reasons why great empires fall, but some of the textbook reasons that are given are political instability, internal strife, and external threats. Also, economic decline and invasions. Now, we haven't had an invasion, but the enemies of this empire are creating weapons and testing weapons that they can launch against us in case we attack them, or they may even be planning to attack us first. But countries are preparing for war against us. We're focused on what we can do to them, but they're also focusing on what they can do to us, especially countries like Iran and North Korea, because those are going to be the countries that are going to be involved in those end time events. And also economic instability. Look at what we've got going on now. The economy is just in free fall. Eggs, all the way up to, somebody said they were $8 a dozen somewhere. You campaign on bringing prices down and stabilizing the economy, and then you run prices up, and the economy becomes even more unstable. And we have internal strife. We have black against white, Democrat against Republican, Muslim against Christians, men against women, women against men. We have a lot of internal strife in America. And all of these things lead to the decline of an empire. All of these things exist in great empires, and in the end, they do themselves in because they don't attend to the people of the empire, like this great empire. Instead of fixing the problems in this great empire, they're bringing other people in to cover up the problems. And ultimately, it will collapse under its own weight. And we have Donald Trump, who believes that he has the answer. It really takes an arrogant person like that to bring an empire to an end, a greedy person who's only really thinking about himself, but who has the charisma to persuade people that he has their best interest at heart, when in reality, he's only thinking of himself. So he is probably a textbook case of a leader who presides over a falling empire. And let us not forget that we live in both a physical and a spiritual world. The first two reasons that I gave why I believe Donald Trump was elected were as much spiritual as they were physical. But now I want to get down to the physical, the sheer physical reasons why Donald Trump was reelected. And that's number three. America was established on the foundation of white supremacy with Christianity as a backup. One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Even in that, they presuppose that God would bless white people in America without blessing anybody else. And if it's true that God laughs at the foolishness of man, then that certainly has been borne out here. America being built on the foundation of chattel slavery meant that America would have to survive and exist on continual and perpetual slave labor. And to that end, they reduced the enslaved people, the creations of the Most High God, into less than human beings, turned them into property, chattel, so that they controlled every aspect of the enslaved people's lives. Couldn't read, couldn't write, couldn't leave the plantation without permission, couldn't think anything that the slave master didn't allow them to think. So, in that way, the slave master made himself the God over the enslaved people. Now, we have to know that was an affront to the true and living God. Two important ways that white supremacy has been able to control black people, not completely control, but to stifle growth in black people, is to control education and employment. Keep them ignorant and keep them poor, and you can keep control over them. So every 50 years or so, they have to come up with a new strategy. New challenges call for new strategies because black people outgrow those old strategies and learn how to work around them to thrive. So they have to come up with something new. So now we're in a new generation where new strategies are being employed to control not only black people, but the entire society to bring it back to white supremacy, where only white men in America matter. Project 2025 is the playbook of strategies for returning America to what Mr. Trump calls the golden era. One of the main projects of 2025 is to dismantle the education system. Because remember, keep them ignorant, control the educational process. So now they're in the process of dismantling the Department of Education. When I first started working in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, they had these big churches, white churches downtown. They were already big churches. And then when the moral majority with Jerry Falwell and the moral majority came on the scene, they started expanding those churches till all of the churches that in that area, and this is all over the South. I don't know about other parts of the country, but all over the South, the churches doubled in size. And what they said was they were school ready. They've been planning to dismantle the Department of Education for a long time. They're going to educate their own children in their own churches. They're claiming that it costs too much and this, that, and the third. But the idea is to keep the masses of the people ignorant. That's one way of controlling them. So that's one of the reasons that Donald Trump was elected. One of the first things he said was, we're going to dismantle the Department of Education. And someone told me, based on some website that they've been on, that they say that 50% of that project is already done. Just in these few days that Donald Trump has been president, they have dismantled 50% of the Department of Education. And we know that the school system already had a built in school to prison pipeline for black boys who were poorly educated. So now I guess the goal is for them to not be educated at all. I guess that's the goal. And that brings me to number 4, unemployment. Since February, over 200,000 federal workers have been fired. Now, how does this play into Project 2025? Project 2025 is a set of proposals that would fire federal civil servants and end their job protections. It aims to replace them with political partisan loyalists through Schedule F. The project also seeks to eliminate public sector unions and create company controlled unions in the private sector. Now, way back in the 80s, when Newt Gingrich was big in Republican politics, he wanted to end several departments of the federal government, the education department being one of them, but also in the Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Northern Virginia area, there are many affluent Black American communities. The heads of many of those families work for the federal government and they make very good salaries. So, one of the reasons that they wanted to end those departments was to get rid of those black workers. Now, they're getting rid of other people too, but the main goal is to get rid of everybody that's not a white man who is making a good, livable salary. So Donald Trump came right in and did what? Started firing those federal workers. So that's the goal for Project 2025 for non white men. Keep them ignorant and keep them poor. We see what they've done with affirmative action and DEI. So this is a goal that's been set for decades. See, they operate in long term, and very often we operate in the short term. Now, through discipline, determination, and tenacity, these right wing Project 2025 people control the federal government of the United States. And that is the ruling government of the United States. They control the House of Representatives, the Senate, the Supreme Court, and the executive branch. All branches of the United States government are in the hands of the people behind Project 2025. And the fifth reason that I'm given as to why I believe Donald Trump was elected was to restore America's morale from the point of view of right wingers. And by doing that, I think that he was supposed to attack the transgender forum and say that there are two genders, male and female, which diminishes the idea of transgender rights because people were having a fit over things like men calling themselves women, competing in women's sports and going to women's bathrooms and things like that. So I think that they wanted that to be addressed. Immigration reform, I think that many people were upset about immigration, especially illegal immigration, and they wanted to get a handle on it. And so, what is he doing? Mass deportations. And the last thing I think that I'm giving, although there are other reasons, but these are just my five, and this three and one with this last one, and that was ending the war in Ukraine. That was always a sore spot here because anybody who has studied world history and Russia knows that Ukraine was never going to win that war. They were never going to win that war with Russia. So it was just throwing good money after bad in the minds of some people. So these are the reasons that I'm giving as to why Donald Trump was reelected. Now, I'm not playing on anybody's intelligence. Y'all already know all of this. I just decided to put it in a video. Okay, let me know what you think about the video. Thank you for watching. Give me a thumbs up and have a good evening.